Yeah, cool, amazing. We're online again. The technology didn't win. We won, humans. So I thought it was a new streaming rule or something. Speaking of rules and laws, we're gonna be with Lina Hariri today, and we're gonna talk a little bit about her stories and her past stories and the upcoming stories about the new labor law in the UAE. So, without further ado, here's Lina Hariri.
Hello again.
Yes, hello, hello. Finally, it's
Hello,
working.
hello.
Finally, we did beat the technology.
That's good. That's good. Technology is always a challenge.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It is. It is. So, Lina, كيفك?
Alhamdulillah, I'm good. Very well. Thank you very much for asking. How are you?
Good, good. How are you? Lina,
Yeah.
today is gonna be the last session of Storytelling Works
Mm-hmm.
in 2021. It's been 21 sessions this year.
Wow.
21st session, yes, yes. Time flies. It's been 6 months nearly,
Yeah.
and yeah. And first I want to welcome you,
Thank you.
uh, and I'm not gonna introduce you. I'm gonna let you introduce yourself in few words, and then we're gonna begin with the stories.
Okay. So my name is Lina Hariri. I'm half German, half Syrian. I currently live in Germany with my husband and my mom. I look after my 80-year-old mom here in Germany. But my main business is in Dubai. So all my clients are in Dubai. I have two older sisters. I have lots of nephews and nieces who also now have children of their own. So the family is growing. So Christmas will be uh, quite a few people, which is
Yeah,
nice.
yeah, continue.
Yes. Yeah. And it's always nice to have little ones running around and opening
Yeah,
presents and
yeah,
stuff like that. So yes,
yeah.
it's
Good, good, good,
I'm
good.
looking forward to it. Yeah. So that's
Yeah,
that's that's yeah, that's me in a sort of a very short version.
yeah, yeah. Well, we're gonna know more about you. I mean, uh, you're in Germany. You were born in Germany, right?
I was born in Germany, absolutely, yes. And I moved to Dubai the first time with my parents in 1983. So
Wow.
Dubai was very different then. It was more like a desert at the time. Shazayed Road, and really there was a couple of buildings, and that's about it. You had to watch out for the camels everywhere, and yeah, it was an exciting time. It was a lot quieter. Yes, but and then I spent 17 years of my life in Dubai. So for Dubai is really also part of my home. So yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And you said the first time you came with your parents, but I mean, it's more than 17 years since 1983. So,
Well,
so
so went to school, went to university in Dubai. What you call university? That wasn't a big campus at the time because there
yeah,
weren't that many universities around.
yeah.
Worked in the gold souk for about
Oh,
2-3 years. Ran a jewelry office in the
oh,
gold souk, in the old gold souk. So that was a
oh.
bit of a challenge with all the men around me in the other offices, going around with my little suitcase trying to sell German jewelry. So that was an interesting time. Met my husband, who's British, and then we decided, or well, actually, I decided I had enough of Dubai. Let's go and try something else. And we moved to the UK, where we
Okay.
then spent 20 years in the UK.
Oh, okay, okay.
So,
But,
yeah,
but you,
yeah.
you met your husband in Dubai.
I met my husband in Dubai, yes.
Yeah, that's interesting. That's interesting. And
Yeah,
you spent 20 years in the UK. And
yes.
what brought you back to Dubai?
Dubai was always sort of in the back of my mind. I'd always gone back to Dubai with my parents on holidays, every year, once, twice a year. My parents used to spend 3-4 months of the year still in Dubai when they eventually moved back as well, 1998. So, but it was always, my dad always loved going back to Dubai. And it was always, yeah, I would really like to go back. And it had exploded, it had grown, and it was always, yes, in the back of my mind, how can I get back to Dubai? But we had, my husband and I, we had really good jobs at IBM, Zurich Insurance, really long careers in the UK. But then around, Brexit time came, and you weren't sure what was going to happen with the Europeans in the UK. And I had a really good job in the UK, and they asked me to take over the HR function in Dubai, in Asia and China and South Africa. Which of course said, yes, thank you very much, I'll go. And that's how we ended up back in Dubai in 2018.
You said Zurich Insurance, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Wow. That one of the first jobs I got in 2003 or 2 or something was with the Zurich Insurance. I learned my first sales
Really?
training as a financial planner with Zurich Insurance. Yes.
My goodness. Oh my
Oh, wow,
goodness. Look at
yeah.
that. Small world.
It's a small word indeed. Shidhar is saying hello both. Nilesh, good afternoon both. Good afternoon, Nilesh. Hi, Shidhar. Shambavi, hello as well. Santosh, hello. and Nilesh was saying
Oh, lots of
that
people.
that Joe is trying to get your age, Lina. No.
I have no problem telling you my age. I'm, oh God, I'm 53 years old now. So I have no problems with my age at all. So you could have asked me.
So Lina, so you came back to Dubai,
Yeah.
and then you came back to the UK, to the Germany, after
Yeah.
so many years to take care of your mom. And when the COVID came, and then something happened there. Did it happen before or after you went to Germany? The cooking thing.
Oh no, the cooking thing has been going on for a while.
Okay.
That started basically. That started in the UK. The cooking
Okay.
thing. So I have a lot of food allergies, and I went through all sorts of holistic medicine, doctors, nutritionists, lots of tests, top to bottom. Nobody could really figure out what was wrong. And they always, oh yeah, sensitive stomach, and so I then sort of decided, right, okay, what can I do myself? And I started eliminating foods, reintroducing them into my diet, and I found out that I was allergic to to curry, to all sorts of Indian spices, and paprika, cayenne pepper, all of these kind of things. And I was thinking to myself, well, there isn't really anything out here in the market, and I just wanted to tell people my story, and that's when I wrote my first cookbook. It's free, and I thought, I'm not telling anybody what to do. It's just a sort of something that helped me cope with my allergies, and it became a lot of fun. Experimenting with the foods, cooking, changing recipes to make them more healthy. I love the Arabic cuisine. I love German cooking. How can you make that more healthy? When people do have allergies, how can you change from, lactose into non-lactose? What can you do, substitution and stuff like that. So I've always had a passion for cooking, but that sort of helped me cope with my food issues. So I'm developing a few new things at the moment. For next year, for the spring and summer, I'll be bringing out another cookbook all about picnics. So I'll create baskets, what you can put in your baskets. There'll be vegan, vegetarian, French, barbecue style, recipes in there. So I'm sort of like thinking about that now, developing it. And then my husband and I were going to drive around Germany and also tell you about picnic spots where you could have your picnics. That'll be specific for Germany, but the cookbook will be in English, so it'll be not specific to Germany. But this is an idea I'm developing at the moment. It keeps my mind occupied with other things.
Yeah.
So nice things. Yeah. So yes, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, when you said you're driving around, for a second, I forgot that you're in Germany. I'm like, there are not a lot of spots in Dubai.
There used to be lovely spots in Dubai. I mean, my husband and I on a Thursday, we had Thursday, Friday weekends. Of course, that's all changing. So on a Thursday or a Friday, most of the time on a Friday, we used to go out sand duning, dune bashing in the desert. Just really like 5 minutes out. But of course, now you can't do that anymore because there's buildings now. So you have the whole new side of Dubai where we used to go and play in the sand. Or go to Hatta and all these lovely places, to the hot springs and all sorts of things. So no, there are still probably lots of space, places around in Dubai, but I didn't really get to explore because with COVID and with my mom, we then came back to Germany. So, but hopefully, maybe I can maybe do something later on. Who knows?
Speaking about picnic, I'm gonna share it with you a small story that happened to me back in 2014. No, before that. Well, actually, back then my wife wanted to make a surprise for me, so she blindfolded me and she said, "Okay, I'm gonna drive." Yeah. It doesn't start well.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and she said, I'm gonna take you to have a surprise picnic. And I'm like, yeah. And it was nighttime. And then after a while, I hear the sound of the sand. I'm like,
okay, yeah.
She tried to go in the sand and she got stuck. I'm like, okay, can I remove my blindfold so I can take us out? So I took us out from there, and we reached a place where we could actually, because she forgot to deflate the
lower the car. Yes.
Lower the car.
Tires.
Yeah, the tires. So we reached there, and the picnic was sushi.
Oh, okay.
Sushi, yeah, exactly. Sushi in the desert with a bottle of wine.
Okay.
That was. I mean, if you go through my Facebook pictures, I have those pictures still there. I'm like, yeah, that was the weirdest picnic ever. I mean, sushi in the desert.
I can imagine. Sushi in the desert. Okay, well, yeah.
After being stuck in the sand. Yeah.
Lovely.
Yeah. So, Lina, if I'm gonna, if we're gonna take cooking and HR, which are seemingly very far from each other, but if you were to think about what's the commonality between HR and cooking, what would that be?
I mean, HR for me is all about helping people, not just setting rules and regulations, but also guiding and helping employees in their day-to-day life, work life. Um, and I'm always, I'm a very passionate, I'm a very, how do I say, empathetic person. That means, I feel when, I feel quite passionate with that person when I'm sort of advising, or when I'm writing a CV, or when I'm doing a LinkedIn profile or something. I get into people's heads. With the cooking is a bit similar. I'm also giving myself to that person when I'm giving them ideas of how to have a healthier lifestyle. I'm not preaching. I'm just telling them, look, this is what worked for me. It doesn't necessarily going to work for you, but it's just something that may help you, in their journey, for basically discovery journey, I would say. So there you see a little bit of similarity. HR is always told to be, the villain in a company, but when it's done right, that's not what HR is all about. Yes, you have to have rules and regulations and all of these kind of things. Yes, that's fine. But you're also there for the person, which is important, because they come to you for advice. And if they can't get if they don't feel that you are trying to at least help them, then what's the point in going to HR? So there I can see a bit of similarities. Of course, not everybody is like me, but for me, it's all about helping and nurturing the relationship, let's say, between food and a person, but
Yeah,
also between a company and a person. So that's
yeah,
sort of the similarity.
yeah, exactly. And what Santosh, well, before said that he was looking forward to your new book, and Nilesh as well. They wanted to see the new picnic cookbook spots and interesting. When Santosh would go to Germany, well, he'll go there. Yeah, yeah. And Santosh said, feeling emotions, happiness is common between HR and cooking. Santosh said as well that HR for him is the heart of, that it's a heart relationship in a
It
way.
is. Yeah, it is.
And you said HR as a villain. That's a good analogy. No,
Yeah.
and Noshin just joined. Said hello. So hello, Noshin. And Santosh said the great analogy as well. Now, funny enough, I never was in a corporation.
Mm.
I hear about HR all the time. I have a vague idea what HR does. What does
Yeah.
HR do exactly?
What don't they
What is
do?
the real job of HR in a company?
What don't they do? Um, you see, HR for me, it is the heart of the company. It keeps everything ticking, and keeping companies and managers on a straight and narrow. It's helping the business develop, find strategy, manage people, but also work with the people. And that's where the villainous analogy comes from. We are always viewed as, we can only, we dictate how things, you're not allowed to do this, you're not allowed to do that. But that's not all it is. Yes, you have to have structure in a company, and HR creates structure in a company. If you don't have structure for the employees, for the managers, they just run around doing whatever they like, and then that creates problems. So when a company doesn't have a proper HR, even if it's just one person, how is an employee going to know how to act, how to how to perform, if a manager is not good enough, or if there's issues with an employee, how do they deal with a difficult situation, how do they talk to their employees, how to motivate their employees, especially in these hard times where in which we're in. How do employers motivate their staff? And you have good managers, you have bad managers and CEOs, and it's a fine balance where it's that leadership that in a lot of cases is missing. And if you think about, there's so many people now working from home permanently, or because there's lockdown, like here, for example, or in most of the Europe. We give structure. We work with leadership. We teach, we coach leadership on how to communicate, procedures, structure, everything to the employee. And especially now where employees are at home, how do you communicate with somebody that is 100% at home? How do you motivate your staff? What do you do? Some people just some leaders don't know because they don't have that. So we come in, we teach, we coach, we set boundaries, we set salary levels, we advise. It's advisory. We make structure. We create the strategy for a company. We are part of that strategy. So we lead the CEOs and the leadership into a better future. That's what I believe HR is.
Yeah. I mean, thank you for giving me a clear idea about what HR does. It seems to me as if the only people that the C-level, the CEOs are accountable to, other than the board, are the HR in a way. So the HR can actually go to the CEO and say, you know what, it's not going well from your side.
Yeah.
And
but that's what it is. In a big corporation like, let's say, IBM, or who have hundreds of thousands of employees, and Zurich Insurance, I mean, they have huge HR departments, but each department has a business partner which advises. I mean, they advise each of their business units on how to deal with employees and talk about difficulties and stuff like that. So in big corporation, that's what it is. And most of the time, an employee is just a number because of of the vastness of those companies. In smaller companies of, let's say, 20, 40, 100, that's a lot easier to deal with from an HR perspective, but also from a leadership perspective as well.
Santosh said it's the most misunderstood, misused profile. He can't agree more with you, and he's so happy to hear your thoughts. Spot on. I am so happy to hear your thoughts as well. And there is something you said about for a better future. Now, we're ending 2021, and then we're hearing here and there about the new labor law in the UAE.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, finally.
Yeah. Well, you said finally as if it's a better future. I don't know anything about it. I know few things about it. Can you actually, tell us more about what's the difference? Because for me, it's like gibberish. I don't know how it was to know how it is. But before we go there, Noshin says, if done correctly, HR is the best bridge between organization and its employees. Being the core people's department, HR needs to be more strategic and visionary. And I think Lina and I agree with you, Noshin,
absolutely,
for your input. So, Lina,
yes.
how about that new thing? Nobody's talking.
The new labor law. Yeah. Okay, so the previous labor law was established in 1980. We are now in 2021. Things have changed tremendously since then. it was established for blue collar workers at the time. You know, it has grown into something, you know, the country has grown. We are now millions of people that live in the UAE. They've had to do something with labor law. It was very confusing, and a lot of the times wasn't even applicable anymore. So this new labor law basically goes with the times. It provides more clarity, although there are still a few things that we're not clear about. We're still waiting for more clarification. We're still early days. We still have 2 months. In that time, we'll have more coming out around the new labor law. You know, what they're doing is they're giving more clarity to the law. So, for example, one big change is there are no more unlimited contracts. So unlimited contracts were always for an unlimited period. So it didn't have an end date. It had started, but no end date. So all of those kind of contracts will stop. They're all going into limited contracts. So previously, a limited contract was, and will still be, for a maximum of 3 years, which can be extended. However, in the old law, when you break, or, you know, when you leave before the end date, you actually had to compensate the company up to 3 months' salary sometimes, depending on how long the contract is still running for. So in the new law, that's no longer applicable. So basically what they're doing is, yes, you have a start and an end date, but it is renewable. How many times, it doesn't matter. So maximum of 3 years. So we're still waiting for more clarity on that. But basically, all contracts now have to be limited, and the unlimited contracts also will have to be converted into limited contracts. So, and then there's going to be some more clarity around that. For example, you know, end of service benefit. You didn't get an end of service benefit when you left in certain instances, for example. Again, that's being clarified. In the probation period, for example, the employer, if they wanted to terminate you in the first 6 months of your, you know, basically in probation, they have to give you 14 days notice. You know, there's this kind of thing. What else? There is maternity leave is being raised to 60 days instead of 45. So, you know, there's parental leave. There's other forms of leave like compassionate leave, study leave now, if you're studying, let's say, for your master's. So there's those are just a few issues. So more clarity around certain things, more clarity about unlawful termination. What is the compensation around, you know, when an employee is you know, let go. Previously there was no redundancy. Now there is redundancy. So basically, if employees are being let go because of redundancy, there is now a reason. However, what does that mean? It means the company actually has to close, not to make that position redundant. That still doesn't apply. It's the company closes. That is redundancy.
Yeah.
So there's just a few more clarity, you know, it's more clarity around these new laws.
In a way, I'm feeling that it makes the employers more accountable in a way. The employees are not, I mean, the stuff that happened in 2008 and 10 and now with the COVID, the redundancies, everything, the unfairness that used to happen. So the employee used to push the employer to be fired to be able to be compensated because they couldn't get it. I mean, it was all kind of things I used to hear around me, and I'm like, Why? I mean, why
Yeah,
does that need to be this way? I mean,
yeah,
now I understand the clarity that you're talking about.
yeah.
Noshin is asking, what about the people can now work for multiple employers? Is that true?
Yes. This is going to be an interesting one. Yes, there's different types. So people, employees can work full-time, part-time, flexible, they can share, they can work for multiple. We don't know how that's actually going to work. Who's going to be providing the visa, for example, and the work permit? How is end of service benefits? Who's going to be paying that? Which employer? Are they going to share it? Who's going to manage the salary payments, who's going to be managing the annual leave? We don't know that yet. So whatever has been written at the moment, there will be more clarity coming out in the next couple of months. So hopefully by then we will know what that actually means. So yes, they're giving people more flexibility. So if, let's say, one person will want to work for one company and then work for another company. Before, you had to have an NOC, and you still can't with the other company's mission, of course. Job sharing, all of that. We don't know how that's all going to work. It all sounds very good, but in practical ways, how is that going to work? We don't know yet.
That's great about the new labor law. Now we're gonna go to the second part of the storytelling works. So if before going there, Noshin is saying, yeah, I believe it's a wait and watch the space for more to come.
Yeah.
Definitely there will be terms and conditions. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Oh yeah.
So now we're gonna go to you, Lina.
Me.
We're gonna extract a story from you, a personal story that will transform it into a business story, something that has a business purpose. So it's an authentic personal story that transforms into a business as a business purpose. So to do this, we're gonna put the map. When I say map, I say the motivation, the aspirations, and the possibilities. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
And we begin with thinking about the 40s. Well, this is how we get the stories. I mean, we have phases in our lives. Phases, by phases, I mean after a transformation and before another transformation, or after a change and before another change. So this time between a change and another, it's the phase. So looking at all the phases in your life, were there stories of triumph? It can be a triumph for you, it can be a triumph for others, or it can be a triumph for a community. Was there a tragedy? I mean, with triumph sometimes comes tragedy. Was there a tragedy done to you or by you towards others, or a regret, something that didn't happen? Is there a tension? Was there a tension? Tension, it's a hard decision to make. So attention it can come from obligations, from loyalties, from values. And then were there transformations? This is the fourth T: triumph, tragedy, tension, and transformation. A transformation that was chosen by you, or forced on you, or instigated by a third party. Now, when I tell you all this, do you have a story or a couple of stories that are becoming to be clear in your mind, that pop up in your mind, that, yeah, this is a story that makes sense, that I would want to tell?
There's many stories.
Yeah. Choose one, and we're gonna build it in your mind. We're gonna build it in your mind. We're gonna use the SCORY of story, build it in your mind, and then we're gonna give you a few minutes, and you're gonna tell the story. So, beginning, we have the situation. The S of story. What is the situation? What is the setting? What was happening in this story in the beginning? The T is for talking characters. Who are the main talking characters? Who are the people involved in it? Then you have the O. What is the main obstacle that those people are facing? Because there's always an obstacle in stories. And then what is the resolution? But I mean, when you have the SOR, it's interesting because now you have a story, but there is the why. And the why in business storytelling is why would it be important to them? And this is what we call a WIFT. What's in it for them? So basically, why would it be important or interesting for someone else to hear that story? Because we all have personal stories. But to turn it to a business story, okay, what is the lesson? What is the message that can be taken, can be purposeful for a business that can actually be inspirational and actually can have an impact? So if you have that clear, the story is yours.
It's, I've had, to be honest, I've had a very colorful life. Colorful by what do I mean by that? I grew up in a multicultural environment, Syrian, German, and there was always challenges, in that sense. But I think is, if you're growing up in this environment, you either live with it or you don't. For me, I think I get the best of both. I find, for me, I'm very much Arab, but I'm also very much German. I'm very German in my work. But then I also love the Arabic culture. I am very, and that's why I like the lifestyle in Dubai so much, because I live both worlds in Dubai. Germany is slightly different. Here you become very Germanized. But Dubai is a country where you can basically live, you're better, the best of both worlds, I guess, is what I mean. I always grew up, my father was very strict. He always expected the best of us, in school, in everything. He was a very successful doctor. And, when we weren't getting the, notes, in school, oh my God, the grades weren't good and blah, blah, it was tough. But he pushed us, from him, I get the push to go out and be my best self, and always strive to be better, to be more successful, to strive for the top. When I was working in a corporation, it's very hard to progress if you're not good enough. And sometimes you feel that you're not good enough. And, to try and come out of this vicious circle that you are good enough and, you can go where you want to go. You just have to believe in yourself. That's very difficult. But then when you're sort of like thrown into a situation where I was when I lost my job, just coming from the UK, 6 months in Dubai, no job. And I said, oh dear, I'm in my 50s. What do I do now? And Dubai is not an easy place to find work at any age. What do I do? At first, you're like, you're really like, oh my God, what do I do now? I'm too old. You get, you self-pity. But then you have to think about, right, okay, what have I not done in my life? What do I want to go? What do I want to achieve? And this is where Ask HR came to be. And I said, right, okay, I'm not the youngest anymore. However, this is what I want to do. I want to go out there and help people, do it better, be better, become a better HR person, show people what HR is really about. And that was really hard work, really, really hard work. Money, you have to, how do you find clients? I was very privileged because I had friends around me who gave me clients, they got me the clients, but it was so scary. and also as a woman, it's not easy work. But for me, it was always my dad was always in my mind, pushing me. You can do it. You're good enough. You can strive for the best, and go out there, and that helped me become the person I am today. Now I'm in Germany. It's come full circle. It was a hard decision, but it was never a decision where I said, no, I'm not going to do it. My family is the most important for me. When my dad passed away in 2019, for me, there was no question that I was going to come home at some point and look after my mother. So how do I do that? How do I look after my family? How do I go look after my business, which now, of course, is thousands of kilometers away in Dubai? How do I earn enough money and make a living, look after people? And, again, I'm thinking about, I have to be strong. I have to be strong for everyone. Sometimes it's not easy. I have my dark days, and I just want to crawl into bed and don't get up. But I know I want to achieve so much more than what I'm doing currently. I'm ticking along. That's fine, but I want to do more. I want to do more with my books. I want to do more with my cooking. I want to travel more. COVID dependent. I want to build my company. I want to be successful on my own terms. And everybody who goes through these phases, I don't have a coach. I have my family around me. My family is my coach. My husband is my coach. Sometimes I scream and shout, and I have to take a breath because, sometimes I'm unfair to everybody because I'm stressed. Of course, you have to deal with those situations. But then I look around and I said, right, I'm doing something. I'm looking after my mom. This is the most important for me. I look after my husband. I look after myself, and look after the rest of the family as well. Cooking and baking and all sorts of things. So that for me is accomplishment enough where I'm at, but I have more to accomplish, and I'm building up to that. 2022 is going to be my year. I'm going to make it my year. I'm going to be what I want to be, whatever that's going to be, whether it's within HR or whether it's in, I don't know, cooking, jewelry making. That's another thing that I like to do. I've got so many ideas, which, I want to do something with. That's my success story, to be honest. I don't know if that's what you were, hoping for, what you were looking for, but for me, family for me is the most important. And they carry me through life. And yes, I've been away from my family for a very, very long time. And but now being back with the family, they give me that support that I need to do whatever I want. And if you have that support system around you, they will carry you, and they will help you to achieve anything. I still talk to my dad. He still appears in my dreams. He's still around me. You have to be better. You have to be good. You have to be doing this. He's always there in the back of my mind. And he pushes me forward. So I want him to be proud of me, wherever he is. And he's looking down at me. So for me, that's important. I want everybody to be proud of me. I want to be proud of myself.
Well, Nasheen is saying you are an inspiration for many, Lina. Nilesh saying, may you achieve what you desire. Santa said, great, you will achieve your goals for sure. Good luck. For me, I'm going to ask you, how was 2020 for you?
2020, the beginning of 2020 was difficult because my father had just died.
Okay.
And I was still in Dubai, but I was in Germany when my dad died. He died on Christmas Day, and I was here in Germany. I had a feeling that I had to be here for whatever reason. It was unexpected. He was very ill, but it was still unexpected. So we were all here together. So then we came back. I came back to Dubai. It was hard. It was very, very difficult. And also because I knew my mom was struggling, and it was a hard time for her because they had been married for nearly 60 years, and to lose that part of you is hard. And then of course COVID hit. Lost all my clients. Well, not all. Kept one. He's my favorite. He keeps me going. Is an HR outsource that I'm the HR manager. He supports me whatever I do, which is fantastic. It's a small company, but and then that was the decision in June, right? Okay, it's time to go home, which is Germany. So coming home to Germany within COVID, within lockdown, was extremely challenging because we couldn't really do anything. We couldn't go to the, ministries to register. We couldn't sell our cars or import our cars. We didn't have a kitchen. We didn't have furniture. So the first 3 months were living on garden furniture, on mattresses on the floor. That was a challenge. That was a huge challenge. 2020 was a challenge. It was a very, very challenging year.
I hope for you that 2022 will not be as challenging because, 2022.
Yes, I saw that.
Let's hope it's not 2022.
I never realized that when I saw this morning. I thought, oh yes, really. Okay. 2020 was a challenging year. 2021, things started to look up. The company was going well in Dubai. We had some health issues, my husband, myself, which again was a bit of an eye opener, to say the least. So there were more obstacles in my way, but I said, right, okay, I'm not going to let that beat me. I came out the other side. I beat everything. And now it's nearly the end of 2021, and we can only look after 2022. So, yes.
So, I agree. 2022, everybody is looking forward to.
Yes.
Today, Shidhar was asking about our messages, what we felt about this year and what we want for the next year. Anyway, and I saw a lot of hope, a lot of things, and when you said that 2022 is going to be the breakout year for you, well, the same I have in mind for my year, to finally everything that is gathered together comes together anyway.
Yeah.
So thank you, Lina, for being here today. We're reaching the end of.
Thank you.
It was as exciting as we both expected it to be. And thank you for all the people who were here, from Shidhar to Shambhavi in the beginning, Nilesh, Santosh, Noshin. I don't know if I forgot anyone. Thank you everyone who has been here, and thank you for the people who will watch later on. I know that Vida watches always later on, replay, and others. So and well, Christmas is in few years, few days. So
Few days.
few days. Yeah,
Yes.
it's actually
Yes.
less than a week away. So Merry Christmas for
Yeah.
everyone, whether you celebrate it or not. Well, Merry Christmas, and for the people who are waiting for the new storytelling works, is gonna be for next year. So Happy New Year as well. So thank you so much, Lina, and
thank you, Joe, for having me.
yeah, bye.
Thanks. Bye,
Bye.
everyone.